Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me tonight. My name is Sharon Rogers and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wells, Maine. And each and every Friday night, I try to come to you live on my YouTube channel with a project. Well, tonight I'm not live because my husband and I are on a one-night getaway celebrating our 27th wedding anniversary. So while you're watching this, I'm probably soaking in a hot tub and just relaxing. So again, I apologize for not being here, but I think that you're going to be okay with just watching this video and seeing the really cool card that I have for you. Tonight's Friday Night Live was inspired by this card that I received from my team member, Julie. Julie joined under the Amazing Starter Kit deal about a month ago. We still have about 2.5 weeks left if you'd like to be in on that deal. And that deal is for $99, you can select $175 worth of merchandise of your choice, and you get free shipping and some other things as well, including at least 20% off future purchases through July. Or if you want to spend $129, you get that same $175 worth of product, free shipping, 20% discount through July, and you get a mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So if you have a Celebration catalog, you can check that out. I think it's on page 18 of that brochure. The link is also on my blog to that brochure. But anyway, Julie sent me this card, and she had been watching Sue Campfield's videos where she created one, and Julie had shown me a different version of this card when I stopped by to give her something, and she showed it to me, and I thought, oh, that's so cool. And I went home and looked it up, and then I got this in the mail today, and I thought, okay, this is what Friday Night Live has to be this week. So you can see this is a sliding pop-up card or pop-out card. So this pops out. You can see there's quite a bit of depth to it. It lays flat. You open it up and it pops right up. Isn't that so cool? Let's see how to create this. To begin, we're going to bring in our Simply Scored tool. Now you can use a paper trimmer if you'd like. I prefer my Simply Scored tool for easy scoring. I'm going to begin with a piece of sweet sorbet that measures 1.5 inches wide by 9 3/4 long. And I'm going to score that at 3/4 of an inch. Let's see, let's use the wide end of my stylus. 3/4 of an inch, 5 1/4 of an inch. And these measurements will all be on my blog. 7 inches, 7.5 inches, and 9 1/4 inches. And then we have another piece that measures 2 inches wide by 5 1/4 inches long. And we're going to score that at 1/2 inch and 4 3/4. So 1/2 inch from both ends. All right, let's put our Simply Scored tool away. Now these two pieces together make the mechanism that make the magic. On this longer piece, you'll notice that there is a narrower little piece at the end here and a wider one over here between the score marks. So we're going to start with this one. And this is the workhorse of all the score lines. We're going to fold on that any direction you want. We're really going to fold it both ways because we want that to be really very flexible. So you're not going to over burnish that at all. So now let's make sure we have to pick a way that it folds. So let's say it folds this way. All the other folds are going to fold the opposite way. So this one folded on itself. We're going to put this one underneath. And then we're going to go to the next one underneath. The next one underneath, and the last one underneath. So when you get done and you kind of make it curl on all of its score lines, you get this shape. Look at it from this angle. You get a J. If you don't have a J, make a J. All right. Now on this piece, we're going to fold back in the same direction. This piece right here. So we have something that looks like that. We'll just bring in our tear and tape. Put a strip here. And when I'm laying this down, I like to go ahead and go over and give it just a nice push. It helps that paper in the back release. On our J piece, you're going to, if you lay it down so that this wider tab kind of like goes down and the score line is kind of up, that's how you want it. This is, remember, the workhorse mechanism. So we will go ahead and put 2 strips, sorry about that, 2 strips on this piece. And then there are 2 other small areas between score lines, 1/2-inch areas. There's this one, and then there's this one. And we're going to put a piece of tear and tape in those. And we only are going to put 1 piece in there because they are narrower. And you can't fit 2, even if you wanted to. Okay. So we've got it all taped up. All right. Now that we have our tear and tape on it, we're going to remove the backings from, actually, let's not start with that one. We're going to start with this one, and we'll start with the end that only has the single piece. So we'll just go ahead and remove that backing. You're going to fold that down. And see how I'm sliding this underneath? Because that's how it's going to be. You're going to do your best to center this edge, this folded edge, on the left edge of this other piece, which I'm kind of calling an anchor piece. So about in the left center. Maybe if I bring in, let's see if I can find a different color of cardstock. Okay. If I bring this in so that you can see a different color, you'll see what I'm doing on the edge. I'm bringing this in about the center point and aligning that up like that and sticking it down. See, that's what I have. Okay, so this is the piece that slides back and forth. All right, let's bring in our card base. Now this is a piece of 4 1/4 by 11. And it is scored in half at 5 1/2. I'm going to go ahead and burnish on that fold. You're going to put this card in here so that a couple things happen. You want this score line to be even with the top edge, this score line to be even with the bottom edge, and you want this little piece right in here to be on the score line, or right up to the score line. What we're going to do is we're going to adhere these 3 pieces down first. But notice there's a little bit of movement in here. You want to make sure that everything is flat. This end should not stick off the edge. In fact, it's got plenty of wiggle room there. All right. These score lines are lined up with the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this tape here. Notice I'm holding it down, so I'm holding it in place. I'm just going to tuck it under so that it goes right up against that top. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. I'm going to tuck this under and adhere it to the card. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove this piece here and this piece here. And I'm going to fold that shut. And now my mechanism is ready to go. So it's really important that you are using a very strong adhesive. I do like tear and tape. I think it's easy to work with. One of the nice things about it is I can keep the adhesive covered up until I'm ready to go. It is a very strong one. If you're not going to use this, you'll probably want to use the green glue, what I call the green glue, the Tombow Mono Multi, or Stampin' Seal Plus. But again, I like this best because you don't have to uncover the adhesive until you're ready for it. All right, let's go ahead and decorate our front. I've got my ink pad, my Sweet Sorbet ink pad out. I've got my Conversation Bubbles stamps out. I pulled out this one right here, and this one, and this one. So nothing with words yet. I am going to use Love Ya, and it's going to go right in here. But see these shapes in here that have some words? The words are part of the stamp, so you can't, without just markering what you want, you can't stamp in an ink pad and get the bubble without the yay, for example. So that's why I chose these. I'm going to bring in a piece of basic white cardstock. Now, full disclosure, I got a lot of it done already, and then I caught an edge, and I see why I caught an edge. On this particular stamp, and there was a couple in the set that was that way, and I had trimmed some of the other ones. This edge, this excess rubber, is wider over here than it is over here. Sometimes your stamps are created in such a way that they're within tolerance. Sometimes they're not, in which case they're defective and should go back. But sometimes it's just a little bit. And so if you find yourself catching an edge because there's too much excess, go ahead and take your scissors and just trim around. I have just trimmed off the offending edge. So I'm good now. I should be good now. I'm going to go ahead and pull this in, and I'm going to do a geometric pattern. I'm going to start with this. Let's go ahead and come over here. Now I don't have to fill up this whole thing because I have plans for over here. I'll tell you them later. So I've got those, and I can go ahead and change this up a little bit by doing something like, maybe I want to do this, where they're overlapping each other a bit. That's kind of cool, huh? So we'll come over here, and let's see, maybe this one, maybe we do something like this. Okay. And let's go ahead, before we do too much more of that, let's go ahead and bring in the blobby one. It's going to give us all the dark red. Put that in there. When you're stamping, you want to make sure that you give yourself a little bit of time for the ink to sink into the paper. So don't just go plop, plop, plop it down and then pick it up real quickly. You want that ink to have some time to settle in. Okay. So let's put this one over here. All right. Now I'm going to take my heart one. I'm going to strategically place this in different places. That's probably not the best place, but I don't know how far I'm going over there. So let's see how this looks when we put it all together. I'm actually not done with that yet. I do have a piece of Designer Series paper that is from the Country Floral paper in the mini catalog. It's the one that has the bicycles on it. Like, here's a card I just grabbed. It has the bicycles in it. It went with the Country Floral Punch that is out of stock and will not be returning, at least not in time for Valentine's Day. So I'm going to adhere that right over here on the edge. I just need a little bit of glue. Let's see if this one's been standing up. There's lots of pretty paper in here. But again, you just, I could have used my country gingham paper because my country gingham paper is sweet sorbet as well. I wanted to use these little hearts. All right. There we go. We have that. Right up next to the edge. I didn't quite get it on the edge, but close enough. So there we have that. And now what we are going to do is we need another scrap of basic white paper. I'm just going to bring this one in. And I'm going to take my outline again and stamp that. Doesn't matter where. This is going to get die cut. Oh, why am I closing that up for? I need to stamp Love Ya. So this is a monochromatic card. It is one color, Sweet Sorbet. You can't say that white makes it two colors because white technically is not a color. I learned that in science class a long time ago. White and black are not colors. So let's go ahead and put Love Ya in there. There we go. Now I'm ready to close up this ink pad, at least until I get to the center. And I'm going to die cut this. So in your bundle of die cuts here, we have a couple different dies. And I think it's this one, not that one. I think it's this one that cuts that one out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that one out. And because I'm not exactly sure what else I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring out, there's 4 little stars in here. I mean, not stars, these are hearts. There's 2 sets of these 2 heart things that I'm going to go ahead and bring in. Oh, except I'm not going to put them on white. I'm going to cut them out of a scrap of Sweet Sorbet. I'm sure I can find a place for those guys, either on the front of the card or on the inside. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back with my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I have the base plate, place number 1, and plate number 2. I have a number 3. These guys are looking kind of worn, but they still work just fine. I'm going to put this scrap on and cut out some hearts. And I want to put this guy on. You know what? We don't need all that much paper on there, though. I'm just going to cut him out a bit. I'll rough cut him first. Now, this fits pretty tightly around there. So what I could do to make sure it stays in place, I think it's going to stay in place just fine. So I could use a little washi tape or a Post-it note and lay that over. I'm going to take my chances here. I think I can do it without it. And I'm going to very carefully put the top plate on. And kind of hold it down as I start it going through. Let's see how we did here. Some hearts. Now, if you have things that stick in your dies, just drop the dies on your plates and look, they come out. All right, so we've got those hearts and Sweet Sorbet. And we've got our little Love Ya. Just what we wanted. And look at what else this does. This cuts out another little piece. It came from in there. So this kind of does double duty. I can use this maybe somewhere else. Like, you know where this would look really cute? On the back of the card so that you could sign it. Or on the inside. Either way. Let's go ahead and bring our card back in here. So here's our card base. Let's bring the front in here. And I think this needs a little bit of a pop of something, I'm gonna bring in this piece of basic black. All right, let's go ahead and glue this to the basic black piece. This all would have looked nice in real red too. This is just a little less red, a little paler, very pretty still. So this black piece is 4 by 5 1/4. The white piece that I had started with was 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So you can see you just get a hint of the black going around there. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down to my card front. Make sure I know which side is the front, which side is the back. So there we have that. And we can put this right in here, and you can put it so that it is what I'm kind of considering parallel to some of the other ones and perpendicular to others, or you could put it on at an angle. It doesn't really matter, but you know what you probably should do is put it on dimensionals just to pop it up. So I have what remains of a sheet of dimensionals. I'm going to just trim around those edges. Don't want that to go to waste. Those edges work every bit as good as the rest of the dimensionals do. Sometimes better if you need something skinnier. All right, let's go ahead and put that. I'm going to put it a little crooked. Now, what would look nice here is some heart pearls, because we have some heart pearls. I don't think I can find mine though. I have the iridescent pearls, which are kind of nice, but you know what I think will look really great is these matte black dots. And I think they'll look great because there's contrast there. So let's see where we can put some of these and have them look okay. So we have just a little black piece there. Maybe we do something interesting up here. Like we take, I think there, I can't tell if there's two or so, I think there's only two different sizes. So I'm changing my mind. I don't want this big one here. Try to get rid of him. Put him back so he can be used another day. So try to get him off me. Get him off. All right, I'm going to use the small ones. I'm going to use like an ellipsis. You know, the dot, dot, dot. That's what I'm going to use. Get a nice little ellipsis going there. We got one down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what that means. We need another one somewhere else. Let's go right over here. And just a little something extra to kind of get some more black going in on that card. All right, so now we turn our attention to the inside. Let's clean up my desk first. Okay, for the inside, we need to decorate this side and right here. So this is like the little mountain peak. It's got a little flat piece on the top that your focal image is going to sit on. And I thought I'd bring back this. Remember, we cut this out at the same time that we cut out this. Well, let's put it to use. I've cut out a piece of 2 by 2 basic black. This can be almost any size. You just want to make sure that when it's closed, it's not sticking way out. So you want to keep it, you know, small enough so that it doesn't come out the end when this starts sliding over. But it should be fine. I'm going to put a little adhesive here and just tack it down. All right. Let's go ahead and just put that right in that basic black area. Try not to slide it too much because you don't want it to show the glue. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and bring in some of these hearts. I'm gonna pick one up with my take your pick tool. Let's go ahead and put a little dot of glue right there. And we can put our heart down. And let's do another one. There we go. Oh, look how cute that is. Just the contrast. So nice. Now just take this little piece of tear and tape off. And let's put that right on there. I want to put it on pretty straight if you can. It may be helpful to kind of find the middle this way. Here we go. So you can see that that's, now when you press it closed, that'll help the tear and tape adhere. When we decorate this side, what you don't want to do, and ask me why I'm such a professional or so knowledgeable in this particular matter, you don't want to cover this up at all. So I've cut a piece of basic black that I think is 4 inches by 2 3/4. So that's about the size that you want here, because that gives a nice even border all the way around. And you can go ahead and you could, if you wanted to, you could punch out a bunch of white hearts and put them all around the inside. That's actually not a bad idea, but I'm not going to waste your time right now doing it. And then I cut a piece of basic white that's a little bit smaller than the black. So I was 1/8 of an inch smaller, which is 2 little tick marks on the paper trimmer. So it would be 2 5/8, I think, by 3 7/8, something like that. We'll adhere this in here. And this is right up next to this, but it's not covering it at all. So there's an area that you can write a little sentiment. And you know what you could do also is, let's go ahead and put a little dot of glue there, and we'll put one of these red hearts. We like odd numbers, right? 1, 2, 3. So there we go. And so when you mail it, it is a little bit thick, but again, it's pretty plain inside. Now you can decorate this inside a little bit to make it a little bit less plain. Let me show you how you might go about that. Let's see. I need a piece of designer series paper, and I'm gonna find one that matches this right here. Okay, I have a couple of pieces of that same designer series paper that we used on the front. And I'm going to just cover up this mechanism a little bit. Now, I don't want to impede it. I don't want to tack it down, because if I tack both of these ends down, then it's harder to slide. It still does slide, but it is a little bit, it is not quite as easy to slide. I'm going to just put this in here, just with a little bit of glue on the ends. So I've got, you know, probably 3/4 of an inch to an inch that I can play with out here, probably a little bit more. And I will just kind of get a nice little border on all 3 of these sides here. Tack that down. Oh, I got a little too much glue on. Whoa, heavy-handed Sharon. That's all right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and then I will just take some adhesive remover, because I have one of those, because I apparently need it, and we'll take off that excess. No problem. Do the same thing on the top. Now here's where I can see, like, ooh, this is a tight fit. And that's because my my slider was not exactly in the center. It's all right. Well, we will just adjust it a little bit. I'm going to adjust it by cutting this down. I'm going to have to cut another piece of paper. Okay, here we go. We're all done. I've got the glue all cleaned up with my little eraser. Now, Stampin' Up! Used to carry these. You can find them in the dollar store or probably any craft store. It's just a kind of a weird rubber, and you just rub it off. So it closes, it opens, and this pops up, and it's pretty cool. Go ahead, try it out for yourselves. Now, this is not part of my Fun Folds class for the coming week, and it was not part of the one for this week. Those are the Tuesday classes, and this is a little bit more involved. I can't write on all these pieces for you to figure it out. But I did want to make sure that you had the directions to do this yourselves, because it's a lot of fun, and it does create a wow. Have a great weekend, everybody. I know I am. Thank you once again for joining me. If you have any questions, you can always email me at stamperhood@gmail.com. Don't forget to visit my blog, stamperhood.com, for directions for this card and more. Have a great weekend.